women are permitted to wear gold, in the form of rings and otherwise, because of the general meaning of the ayah. Interpretation of the meaning. Like they than for Allah, a creature who is brought up in adornments, wearing silk and gold ornaments, that is women, and who in dispute cannot make herself clear. Al-Zukhruf 43 hours 18 minutes, where Allah mentions that wearing adornments is an attribute of women, this includes gold and other things. And Ahmad, Abu Dawood and al-Nasaa'i narrated with a jayyid isnaad from Ameer al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Taalib, may Allah be pleased with him, that these two, gold and silk, are forbidden for the males of Maajah. Ibn Maajah added in one narration, and permitted for the females. It was narrated by Ahmad and al-Nasaa'i, and by al-Tirmidhi who classed it as saheeh, and by Abu Dawood, and by al-Haakim who classed it as saheeh, and by al-Tabaraani, and classed as saheeh by Ibn Hazm, from Abu Moosa al-Ash'ari, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "Gold and silk have been permitted for the females of Maajah, and forbidden for the males." It was criticized for there being a gap, in the isnaad, between Sayyid ibn Abi Hind and Abu Moosa, but there is no reliable evidence for that. We have mentioned above those who classed it as saheeh. Even if we assume that the criticism mentioned is valid, it is still supported by other saheeh hadith, as is the well-known principle among the imams of hadith. This was the view of the scholars of the Salaf. More than one of them narrated that there was consensus, ijma', that it is permissible for women to wear gold. We will mention the views of some of them in order to make the matter more clear. Al-Jassas said in his Tafsir, Volume 3, p. 388, in his discussion of gold, the reports narrated from the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and from the Sahaba stating that it is permitted for women are clearer and more well known than the reports which suggest that it is not allowed. The evidence of the ayah, he is referring to the ayah which we have quoted above, also indicates that it is permissible for women. The practice of women wearing jewelry has been widespread from the time of the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and the Sahaba until the present day, without anyone denouncing them for doing that. Such a widespread practice cannot be objected to on the grounds of Sahih reports. Al-Qiyya al-Harasi said in Tafsir al-Qur'an, Volume 4, p. 391, in his commentary on the ayah, a creature who is brought up in adornments, al-Zukhruf 43 hours 18 minutes, interpretation of the meaning. This indicates that jewelry is permissible for women. There is proven scholarly consensus, ijma', on this point, and the reports concerning that are innumerable. Al-Bayhaqi said in Al-Sunan al-Kubra, Volume 4, p. 142, when he mentioned some of the hadith which indicate that gold and silk are permissible for women, without discussing the texts in detail. These and similar reports indicate that it is permissible for women to adorn themselves with gold. The fact that there is consensus that this is permissible for them indicates that the reports which indicate that it is haram for women have been abrogated. Al-Nawawi said in Al-Majmu', Volume 6, p. 40. The Muslims are agreed that it is permissible for women to wear various kinds of adornment, of silver, gold and silk, by consensus, because of the saheeh hadith. He also said, Volume 6, p. 40. The Muslims are agreed that it is permissible for women to wear various kinds of adornment, of both silver and gold, of all types, such as necklaces, rings, bracelets, bangles, and everything that is worn on the neck and elsewhere, and everything that is ordinarily worn. There is no dispute on this matter at all. He said in his commentary on Sahih Muslim, in the chapter on the prohibition of gold rings for men, and the abrogation of their being permissible which had existed at the beginning of Islam. The Muslims are agreed that gold rings are permissible for women. Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar, may Allah have mercy on him, said in his commentary on the hadith of al-Bara the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, forbade 7 things, He forbade gold rings. Volume 10, p. 317. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, forbade gold rings, or making rings of gold, to men only, not women. It has been reported that there is scholarly consensus concerning their being permissible for women. The fact that gold is permitted for women in general, whether it is formed into rings or not, is proven by the two hadith quoted above, and by the comments of the scholars mentioned above, and by the scholarly consensus that the following hadith are to be accepted. 1. The hadith narrated by Abu Dawood and al-Nasaa'i from Ameer ibn Shu'aib from his father from his grandfather, that a woman came to the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, with a daughter of hers, on whose hand were 2 heavy bangles of gold. He said to her, "Do you pay zakah on these?" She said, "No." He said, "Would you be happy if Allah were to give you 2 bracelets of fire on the day of resurrection because of these?" So she took them off and threw them to the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, saying, "They are for Allah and His Messenger." The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, explained to her the obligation to pay zakah on the 2 bangles mentioned, but he did not rebuke her for putting them on her daughter. This indicated that that is permissible, although they were formed into the shape of circles. The hadith is saheeh and its isnaad is jayyid, as was pointed out by al-Hafiz and al-Balugh. 2. It was narrated in Sunan Abi Dawood with the saheeh isnaad from Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, that she said, "Some jewelry came to the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, as a gift from the Negus, the ruler of Abyssinia, as a gift to him. It included a gold ring in which was set an Abyssinian stone. The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, picked it up hesitantly with a stick or with his fingers, then he called Umamah the daughter of Abu Moosa and his daughter Zainab. He said, 'Adorn yourself with this, O my daughter.' The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, gave a ring to Umamah, which was formed from a circle of gold, and said, 'Adorn yourself with this.' This indicates that gold formed into a circle is permissible on the basis of this report. Abu Dawood and al-Tirmidhi narrated, and al-Haakim classed as saheeh, as stated in Balugh al-Maram, a report from Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, that she used to wear anklets of gold. She said, "O Messenger of Allah, is this kanz, stored wealth?" He said, "If you pay the zakah on it, it is not kanz." With regard to the hadith which appear to forbid women wearing gold, they are odd, and contradict those which are more saheeh and stronger. The Imams of Hadith have stated that what is said in the hadith with jayyid is isnaad but goes against the hadith which are more saheeh, and they cannot be reconciled, and the chronology is not known. Such reports are to be regarded as odd, and unreliable, and they are not to be followed. Al-Hafiz al-Iraqi, may Allah have mercy on him, said in al-Alfa'iyya, "A odd report is one in which a thiqa, trustworthy, person says something which goes against the majority." Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar said in al-Nukhba, "If it is contradicted by something that is more correct, then the correct report should be adopted and the one that contradicts it is odd." They also stated that the condition for a saheeh hadith to be accepted is that it should not be odd. There is no doubt that the hadith which state that gold is haram for women, even if we accept that their isnads are free of faults, cannot be reconciled with the saheeh hadith which indicate that gold is permissible for females, when we do not know which reports came first. So they have to be regarded as and not saheeh, following this Shari principle which is accepted by the scholars. What our brother Allama Sheikh Muhammad Nasir al-Din al-Albani has mentioned in his book Adab al-Zafaf, reconciling these reports with the hadith which permit gold to women, by interpreting the prohibition as applying to gold formed into circles and the permission as applying to other kinds of jewelry, is not correct and is not in accordance with the hadith which indicate that gold is permitted, because the hadith permit rings, which are in the form of a circle, and they permit bangles, which are in the form of a circle. So what we have mentioned becomes clear. Moreover, the hadith which indicate that gold is permitted are general and are not restricted in meaning. So we must follow them because they are general in meaning and because their isnads are saheeh. This is supported by the reports narrated by a group of the scholars that there was consensus that the hadith which indicate that gold is forbidden were abrogated, as we have quoted from them above. This is the truth beyond a doubt. Hence confusion may be dispelled and the ruling of Sharia becomes clear. There is no doubt that gold is permitted to the females of this ummah and is forbidden to the males. And Allah is the source of strength. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and may Allah send blessings and peace upon our Prophet Muhammad and his family and companions. Majmu Fatawa wa Makalat sh. Ibn Baz 6 440